Today, I am going to help you solve the biggest problem in your fitness business. Now, how do I know what your biggest problem is? Well, the answer is I don't actually know what your biggest problem is, and everybody has a different biggest problem. But we're going to talk about a system for figuring out, okay, what is the biggest problem and what do I do about it? And that's what we're going to go through today. And then we'll get super specific with some practical examples. Okay. So every fitness business has some key elements. And that's why I know that, we can really narrow down the biggest problem in your fitness business through these key elements. So I'll share a slide with you that shows four key elements in it. Okay. So when we look at this, our key elements here are lead generation, sales, service delivery, and then reselling. Okay. That's the cycle of every business. So if you own your own studio, if you are a one-to-one trainer, if you have an online business, it doesn't matter what type of fitness business you have. This is your business flow. These are the key steps. Okay. And so if you have a problem in your fitness business, it is getting jammed up likely at one of these key elements or key steps. Okay. And so that's why I know that it's easy to narrow it down. So we look at across the flow of these four steps, what step is having the problem? And let's figure that out. And then we go deeper on that one step and we address the biggest problem in your fitness business. When you do that, it allows you to have a flow, right? So sometimes we have a creek flowing, we're going to turn it into a river of flow, right? By unclogging it at some certain point. Taking some rocks out of the way at a certain point will allow the flow to go better. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, the question I often get in this is what if I have multiple steps that I'm having a problem at? So if I look across these four areas and I say, well, I am having a problem at resale, sales, and lead generation, but I'm great at delivering service, then we start at the beginning, right? Because if a river flows and it's jammed up at the beginning, then the downstream is going to be not so good. So if you have problems in multiple areas, we take the first step that is the limiting step and we address that first and we wait and address the other steps later. Open the river up at the first limiting step, and you can address the other things later. Okay. And so that's what we're going to be looking at here today is that those four steps, where is it getting jammed up at? Because every business needs to generate leads. We just do it in different ways. So if I have a studio, the way that I bring in leads might be different if I'm a one-to-one provider. And if I'm an online business, online programming, or I run a course offering or whatever, right? Then my lead generation is going to be global instead of local. So it's just all different, but it's all businesses need to generate leads, right? Then we take those leads and we're going to have a sales process. And again, your sales process might be unique. You might do physical consultations, right? So Tiffany might have people that come see her for a physical consultation. A studio might have a trial. They can come try the studio. An online business might do a Zoom call or they might have some sort of opt-in form, but everybody has a sales process. So we look at that sales process if it's broken and we say, okay, let's fix the sales process. Then we get into service delivery. Service delivery's got a lot of elements to it, right? Again, depending on the business, but we want to make sure that the service is delivering at a high level. And there's a few signs that we can see that if that's happening or not. And it doesn't matter what service you deliver or how you deliver the service, the signs are very similar. Okay. And then resell is part of every single business. It's better and easier and cheaper to resell a customer that's already engaging with you than it is to get a new customer. We have to have a resell in our business. Now, again, if you're a one-to-one trainer, it might just be renewing them for more sessions or more time. If you're a studio, it might be continuing on the membership. It might be upsells, downsells, things like that. But there should be a resell point. Because again, it's easier to keep that customer engaged than to go out and find new customers. So those are the areas that it's getting jammed up in. Okay. And so the very simple framework that we're going to use to figure this out is going to be three critical points. Okay. So here's our three critical points right here. So where is the problem happening? So if I look at each of those 4 steps, I figure out where is the problem happening at it. Okay. Then step number 2 is once I find out where the problem is, I diagnose what is the problem here. So that takes looking into a little bit of numbers, maybe talking to your clients, doing a little bit of research on like industry norms for the service you provide. Okay. And then once I've diagnosed that, like, no, this part's good, but this part needs some work, I attack the problem with all my resources. So the challenge that a lot of people I coach run into is they're trying to attack all 4 at the same time, right? But when you try to accomplish everything, you accomplish nothing. And so instead of taking an approach where we're like, yeah, we'll do 10% here, 10% there, 10% there, we're like, no, no, no. Let's do 10% on everything else and 90% on one area. Let's attack one area. Let's get it good. Let's improve it so that we can move on and devote 90% of our attention to something else after we have fixed the problem. Okay. And that's a really important step because a lot of people that are running their own business, there's a lack of focus there. And so we want to get focused and say, let's focus on this. Yes, let's keep the plates spinning in these other areas. Let's do them. But 90% of our focus is going into this one area right now and making it as good as possible so that we can spin the plates there and move on to the next problem. And as I mentioned, if you find you have problems in multiple steps, you go with the one that's the most upstream, the earliest, because then you can move on to the other ones later. Okay. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Those are the only slides I have. The rest is going to be me and you interacting. All right. So now that we know, okay, there's these 4 steps, now that we know this is the process, we're going to figure out where the problem is. We're going to diagnose specifically what the problem is in that area, and then we're going to attack it with everything we have. That's how we fix the biggest problem in your business today, right now. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask ourselves these questions. You can take yourself through this if you want and ask yourself some of these questions as you go through, and that'll help you figure out maybe where do I need to spend my time and attention. Okay. So when we're trying to figure out where the problem is, question number 1, you're going to ask yourself, do I have a consistent and reliable way of getting leads? Do I have a consistent and reliable, meaning it works when I need it, way of getting leads? Okay, that's question number 1. So if the answer to that is no, then your biggest problem right now is lead generation. Okay. So it's not that, you might not need leads 12 months a year, but you do want to be able to turn on the tap when you need it. You should have a regular trickle of leads coming in, right? And so a lead is just somebody engaging with you that you're sending emails to, or you're having a convo with, or, whatever, somebody that knows that you exist and what your product is and is somehow engaging with you, even if it's not in a paid way. Okay. So every business needs leads, and you should have something that's consistent and reliable, meaning when you need leads, you need sales, you just turn the tap on. And if you don't have that right now, then you need to figure out what that is. Okay. And that might take a little trial and error. It may take a little bit of work, but everybody can find a way that's like, this is a good way for me, my business, my personality, the service I offer to generate leads. Okay. And over my career, I've failed at a lot of lead generation strategies and I've succeeded at a lot, right? It's trial and error. We got to figure it out. And there's not just one size fits all for everybody. It's not just like, okay, go on social media and DM people. No. So some people are good at that. Other people are good at running workshops. Other people are good at, connecting one-to-one. There's a lot of ways to do this, right? So it doesn't have to be the way that other people do it, but you need to find a way that works for you that can be reliable for you in the future. So that's question number 1. Okay, question number 2. Are my conversion metrics on point? Okay, so in the sales process, everybody's sales process is going to look a little bit different depending if you're one-to-one. I've got a studio, I've got an online business. So that sales process will have a little bit of a different wrapping paper around it. But when you look at your average sales process, there's a booking rate, a show up rate, and there's a sales rate. Okay. So a booking rate is for some kind of engagement. It could be a one-to-one appointment, could be a Zoom appointment, whatever, but it's some sort of booking. Okay. Then how many people actually show up out of that booking? Okay. and then how many people actually convert and purchase with me, right? So are my conversion metrics on point? Okay. So we're going to go into deeper depth on this so you can evaluate, but just for a rough estimate right now, okay, your booking rate one-to-one, if I'm face-to-face to someone, should be very high. It should be above 50%. Okay. Now, if I'm DMing, if I have a form, if I'm doing it electronically, then your booking rate is going to be less, but we're looking at about a 25-30% booking rate. Okay. So that's our booking rate. My show percentage in a live like one-to-one appointment should be 70% should be the benchmark, 70% show rate. If it is a digital thing, it's going to be about 50% we would be going for there. And then my conversion rate should be about 30% or so in terms of sales. Like people that actually show up for their appointment, I should be converting 30 to 40% of those people. Okay. We're going to do a little bit deeper dive on that. Okay. But we will go through the rest first, and then we'll come back to some specifics on that. Okay, question number 3 that you can ask yourself to figure this out is my service exceptional? Okay, is my service exceptional? So there's a little bit of a qualitative evaluation to this, meaning that, everybody probably thinks they're exceptional, right? But you would want to compare yourself to what the average person does and very clearly be above and beyond. If I asked you, what do you do different or better than the average person? That should be a no-brainer. It should be coming out of your mouth like very quickly, okay? But there are signs of an exceptional service that we'll get into. What are the signs? The signs are attrition rate, meaning attrition is how many people are you losing out of your program? So if you're one-to-one, like how many people are going MIA on you and disappearing? If you have a gym, how many people are canceling? If you have an online program, how many people are not completing that program, right? So what's your attrition rate? Are you getting referrals? You should be getting referrals on a regular basis, not every day, but on a monthly basis, there should be some referral business happening, because if people love it and it's exceptional, then they will tell other people about it. If you are that good at what you do, they will tell other people about it. Okay. So you should be getting, that's a sign of exceptional service. And then the third part is that qualitative part, which is that does it really, really stand out to whatever else is out there? So again, we'll dive into that more specifically, but that's a third question you can ask yourself. Okay. So question number 4 is, what is my re-up rate or resell rate? Okay. So question number 4 is, what is my resell rate? So if somebody buys a package with you, signs up for 6 months, somebody comes to your gym, what is that renewal rate like? And again, there's different metrics for different kinds of business. One-to-one trainer, like if you're coaching people either online one-to-one or in-person one-to-one, I want an 80% resell rate. Okay. That's a really healthy metric. If I'm doing a program, it's going to be less. If I'm doing like a digital product, it's probably going to be, I'm trying to get above 30, 40%. It's a little bit of different. I think a lot of people here are working with clients. So I think we're going for that 80% sort of re-up rate. So those are the 4 questions I'm going to ask myself. Okay. And I'm going to honestly answer those. I have to look at the numbers. I have to be transparent. I have to be honest. I don't want to fudge anything because I'm just lying to myself. I'm not hurting anybody else but me if I'm not honest, right? So those are the 4 questions. Now you have your answers right there. Now you might need to dig into some of your metrics a little bit and get these answers later. That's okay. But if you have some of your answers, that allows you to know what area of my business do I have my biggest problem in. And again, if we have multiple problems, then we start upstream at the first one. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. Now let's move on to step number 2. So step number 1 was finding out where the problem. That's what we just did. We just found out where the problem is. Step number 2 is we're going to diagnose the problem. Okay. So that's what we're going to get into now, some specific examples of like diagnosing this problem. So we're going to start in area number 1, which is lead generation. Okay. So if we're lead generating, the first thing is to understand how are all the ways to lead generate, and the sky's the limit on this. But you have your main ways, and they all just have different wrapping paper. So I've covered this in another call, and you can look on my YouTube channel and look at some of those videos. I covered it more in depth, but I'll just basically review sort of like you have your direct versus indirect. Okay. So direct is I'm calling you, I'm putting my face in front of your face. I am somehow talking to you. Okay. And indirect is social media. Okay. And then you have that gradient in between. Like a workshop would be in the middle because it's live, but I have a number of people and I'm not talking to you one on one. So you have like face to face to digital, like social media, or have an opt in form. And then you have everything in between. Okay. So, what are the strategies that I'm using? I have direct to indirect. The more direct, the faster it is. The more indirect, the slower it tends to be, and the less the percentages of bookings and things like that. So that's the continuum there of lead generation strategies. Okay. And then you have, one-to-one versus group, right? So it's like, am I speaking to one person at a time or am I speaking to multiple people at a time? Right now, I'm speaking to multiple people. So that's an example of, if I'm generating leads here, this would be a group way. So the one-to-one is obviously going to be faster, more effective than group, but group obviously saves you time, right? So there's the pros and cons for each strategy, right? If you have lots of time, then do more one-to-one because the conversion is going to be higher, right? But if you're shorter on time, then you probably want to get into more group stuff so you can maximize your time and get more leads out of it. So that's the lead continuum. Now, you can try all of them. I wouldn't recommend it at once because obviously that commits a lot of time, but you're like, okay, I'm going to do some social media. I'm going to do, some opt-in forms. I'm going to do some digital reach out. I'm going to do some workshops. I'm going to do some prospecting on the gym floor or I'm going to network, whatever. These are all the different ways of doing it, right? And you can try a few different ones. What I personally recommend, because you are running a business and have to meet up with clients and there's only so many hours in a day, is you choose one face-to-face-ish or person-to-person-ish, whether it's group or one-on-one, and one digital strategy at a time. That's it. One digital, one face-to-face at a time. Okay. And then this is what we do. Number one, have I done enough volume of this? What is your volume like? Okay. With lead generation, you learn by doing, not by waiting or researching. Meaning, when I was a trainer and I was out on the gym floor prospecting and talking to members to book consults, right? I can read everything I want about a consult, booking a consult. I can read all the networking strategies and whatever, but I don't actually start learning until I go out in the gym floor and talk to people, right? So until you start doing that. So if I was coaching a trainer and they said to me, yeah, it's not really, talking to people on a gym floor is not really working for me. It's not a good strategy for me. I say, okay, my first question is volume. How many people have you talked to? Right? They're like, well, I talked to 15 people. Great. You haven't hit volume yet. Come back when you've hit 500. Right? Like, you know what I mean? It depends on your gym. So that might not be a reasonable number for your gym, but like you haven't done the volume to see if this is the right strategy or not. So question number one is, are you doing enough volume to test it? If I'm doing a digital strategy, it's the same thing. Like if I'm trying Facebook and I'm like, oh, I tried it for 3 weeks, it didn't really get anything. It's like, okay, you haven't done enough volume yet. Try it for 6 months and then we'll talk. Okay. So like really commit to a strategy for 6 months and then we'll see if you've done enough volume. So question number one, have I done enough volume at this particular strategy that I chose? Question number two, have I adapted, adjusted, and mastered it? Okay. So with all these lead generation strategies, there's things to learn. Okay. So meaning that, what's the best way to talk to people? What's the best way to ask? How do I run a webinar? How do I do a lead opt-in form? What's the copy should it say there? How do I post on social media? Whatever. There's strategy with, and no matter what you do, whether it's talking to someone live, doing a workshop, whether it's a digital strategy, there's a skill involved, right? And so we can't expect good results until we've actually improved our skill to what we call the minimal effective level, meaning like, am I good enough at this to be getting a result? Okay. And that only comes from, like I said, the volume, but then adjusting your strategy. So you say, okay, I noticed when I said this line, it didn't really work, but when I said it differently, a lot of people booked an appointment. So I'm going to change that. Or, I'm going to change the images on my social media to something else, and I'm going to try different taglines or whatever. So until you've done a little bit of this adjusting and mastering of the skill set, then we can't say you can't say that we have a minimal viable product yet to be able to judge that. Okay, is that fair? Like if we're not there yet unless we've mastered that part. Okay, so you just ask yourself that: have I adjusted a lot? Have I mastered this skill set? And you don't need to be the best. Okay, you don't need to be in the top 20 percentile, but we need to be 70%. Like we have to have enough skill that we've done it good enough to have justified some leads. Okay. And then the last piece is going to be the time versus outcome, right? So based on the time I have in my day and my week and the outcome I need to achieve, is this achieving a good outcome? So if I said to someone like, I've been running workshops now for 6 months monthly, and I still only have 1 or 2 people showing up. Okay, maybe this isn't the thing for you, right? Like I've put in time, I'm not getting a lot of outcome. So maybe we now switch to a different face-to-face strategy and try something different, right? I'm going on the gym floor, I'm talking to people, but I'm not really getting anybody. Okay, let's try something else. You're not getting an outcome. You spent 2 hours doing it today. It's not working out, but you've already mastered the skill and adjusted. You're doing the volume. So now let's adjust this. Okay. So when it comes to lead generation, those are the things that I'm looking at. And then what we're going to do is we're going to adjust our strategy. So if I'm coaching you on this call, the people that have shown up here today, I would say, okay, what is your in-person strategy that you want to start with? So that could be prospecting, it could be phone calls, it could be networking, it could be workshops, it could be outreach, it could be doing lunch and learns. It doesn't matter. You're going to pick a strategy, and we're going to go through those 3 questions of, have you done enough volume? Have you adjusted and mastered? And now are we getting an outcome for the time we're putting in? Yes, go. Keep going, double down, and get better at it. No, we're not. Great. Let's pick a new strategy. Let's move from networking to now workshops at a clinic or something different. We're just going to change the channel on the physical one. Same thing when it comes to digital. Okay. I've done a digital strategy. I've done volume. I've mastered and adjusted my skill sets there, and I'm not getting the outcome for the time I'm putting in. Great. Let's not do social media. Let's switch to some other digital channel that we can do. Okay. So that's lead generation, diagnosing. Let's go on to the next one, sales. So diagnosing sales, we talked about booking rate. Okay. So booking rate in person is like I talked to you and you booked a consult with me, right? So that should be very high, 70%. David asked like what determines booking rate. So that's a booking rate for a live. Okay. It could be a conversation. So I'm DMing back and forth with you on social. I should have a very high booking rate at that. Okay. Or we do a Zoom call and I'm offering you a free consult or whatever. So those booking rates should be very high. I know those booking rates because I'm interacting with those people. Now we have like the digital booking, right? Which is like somebody books into the calendar, somebody opts into something and then books a consultation or a workout at my gym or whatever. So that is something you're going to have to manually track, right? So it's like, okay, if I look at the last week or 30 days in my business, how many people, joined my email list and how many actually booked a consult or a workout at my gym? How many people did I DM with on social and how many booked a session with, like a trial session, right? How many people did I send a article to, and like a tips article to, and how many of them booked a session with me in my calendar at the bottom? So that's how you determine your booking rate digitally. You have to track your numbers. So it's like whatever you're doing, right? So whatever I'm doing for my digital outreach, tracking the numbers or the leads of how I'm interacting and how many people are actually booking with that. It could be simple as Google. Google has metrics. So if you're a Google business, it'd be like how many people are visiting my site and how many are booking appointments to come in and try it. That's going to be a lower percentage because I said it's a digital passive platform. So the low booking percentages are a lot lower than if I'm a face-to-face live platform. But I'm going to look at my booking rates and adjust accordingly. Okay. Is this working? Am I doing this well? Next is show percentages. So a live show percentage should be 70%. How do we do that? Setting the stage, pre-qualifying people for the appointment, saying like, look, if you're, I give enough information to scare them off a little bit. Like, I'm going to meet with you, go over your goals. I'm going to make recommendations for you, or, and take that next step in your fitness. By saying take that next step in your fitness, I'm trying to get rid of the looky-loos, right? So it's just communicate what to expect in the appointment, get rid of some of the people that aren't serious, a lot of confirmations and follow-ups, clear instructions for the appointment. You would be surprised. Do you think it's simple to show up at your gym or to show up to an appointment? It's not. Like Google Map, like be over communicate. That's what I'm getting at. Okay. So all those things are going to help my show percentage. And then my closing percentage is going to be based on what is my appointment structure and my sales structure like, my sales ability and overcoming objections. The point I want to make here before I do move on is this. I say 30%. It seems low to some people. If you are closing high, we have a problem. Okay. So if you say to me, hey, Jeff, I'm closing at 60% on my appointments, I'm going to say, that's amazing. We have a problem. Okay. What is the problem? Problem one is you're not doing enough volume. Your closing's way too high. Kick the volume up. Okay. So it means we got to get in front of more people because we're leaving sales or potential sales on the table. Problem number two, you're not charging enough for what you do, right? People should balk at it a little bit. If you're worth what you charge, then people should balk at it a little bit. And if you're closing 70% of people, you should probably charge a little more. Okay. So that's problem one and two. If you're closing too high, in my personal opinion, in doing this for a very long time. Okay. So that's the sales area. Let's go into service. Let's diagnose the service. So if you said my problem might be in my service, then let's look at that. So attrition rate should be 10%. We don't want to higher than 10%. 15, okay. But if you're saying 20, 30% of my clients are dropping off mid-package, not showing up, dropping out of the program, not completing the results, whatever, we've got a problem with your service, okay? And we have to figure out, why are people dropping out, okay? And then you can do this. What point are most people dropping out at? Is it the beginning, the middle, the end? What's happening in the beginning, middle, of the end, right? Am I doing enough checkups, progressions? Am I providing easy access? Am I making it easy to succeed at my program or the service I'm offering, right? What barriers in the way? So 10% should be your attrition rate. If you have a higher 10% than attrition rate, we need to figure out where are people dropping out at, and then what's causing them to drop out at that point. Okay. So if, let's say, someone buys a package with me for 6 months and I have a 30% attrition rate, then I'm going to say, okay, of that 30%, where are most people dropping out? And I'm going to say right in the middle. Bulk of them are dropping out right in the middle of that 30% that do drop out. Forget the people that are sticking with it. Of the 30% dropping out, most of them are dropping out in the middle. Okay, what's happening in the middle? Okay, what is the barriers there? Is life getting busy? Are they becoming demotivated because they've seen some results already? What's happening there, and how can I solve for that problem, right? How can I, make sure that they desire the results that they set in the beginning so they keep going? So maybe I do a goal setting session in the middle to re-excite them about a further goal. Maybe it's getting hard because life's getting busy in the middle, and so I have to do something to make it easier for them to show up. Easier access, more support tools, things like that. So I diagnose, where are they dropping off? Why are they dropping off? And then what are the things that I can do as a service provider to fix it and get that down to 10%? Okay. So that's the attrition rate. That's a clue for us there. All right. Then the next one is, am I getting consistent referrals? So every business should have a referral system. It's non-negotiable. Like, there's no reason not to have a referral system, whether you're one-to-one or your digital business. So where am I getting referrals? How am I, and why am I getting referrals? And if you're not getting referrals on a regular or consistent basis, then we have to ask ourselves this question, is that, are my people talking about how happy they are with me? And so we have to do an honest evaluation of that. And maybe I do that with feedback forms. I might do interviews with my clients on how happy are they with the results. Have their friends said or family said anything that they've noticed the results they're getting? What do they feel like the value is that they've gotten since they've signed up? I would interview my clients and ask my clients to figure out what could be better, right? And then I evaluate my referral system because maybe I just haven't put any effort to putting the referral system in place. Because if you have a referral system in place and people love what you do, you should be getting some referrals. And I'm not saying every day again, but like one a month is something, two a month, something like that. That's referrals. If I get one a month, great. I'm getting something. I can turn that faucet on and make that higher if I really wanted to. But if 3 months, 4 months, 5 months have gone by, I'm not getting any referrals, like something's wrong in my service. Okay. And then the other thing that we can look at when it comes to service is the quality of the service that we're providing to people in terms of results, right? I mean, you can't always go by physical results, but we have to provide some outstanding physical results. So, like, we need to have some people getting breakthroughs. Our people like going from, having really bad pain in the morning to pain free? Are we having people from they weren't able to bike anymore and now they're cycling twice a week? Are we having people go lose weight, drop body fat percentage, gain muscle, wearing the clothes they did 10 years ago? Whatever. We need to have results there. If we're not providing some sort of quantitatable results, some sort of measurable results for people, are we doing a good job? Because we could say till the cows come home, well, they're not doing what I asked them to do. But it's our job to help them do that. It's our job to help them be accountable and do that. So can we figure out how to do that better, right? And so not every single client is going to get results, but you should have a high percentage of clients getting really great, amazing results. And so look at your client roster. If I have 10 clients and 6 or 7 of them are getting really great results, great, I'm doing a good job. Okay. So a bulk of your clients should be getting measurable quantitative results. If not, what do I need to change here? Do I need more education? Do I need to learn something different so I can get them the result they're looking for? Do I need to learn mindset coaching so I get them to adhere to what I'm doing more? What do I need to do to fix the results? Again, 10%, 20%, they're just, no matter what you do, they're not going to do it. But that shouldn't be a bulk of your clients. It shouldn't be half. Okay. And then resell. So as I said, in the resell, we should have an 80% renewal rate when we're working one-to-one with people. If we're not at 80%, we need to fix it. Okay. Which means it's either the result and the service, or it's our resell process. Like, we don't have a good resell process. So we would dive into that and we would evaluate the resell process and say, okay, I'm not setting an appointment, or I'm not resetting the goals good enough, or I'm not taking it seriously. I'm just asking if they want to buy more. I'm not doing a good presentation, or, I don't have a good resell option, right? Like, I have this really great program, and then after they get a result, I have nothing to sell them. Well, that's a problem. Let's figure out what's the next step for that client. What should they be doing next in working with you? Okay. So we should have that resell. And then if it's like a group program, it's going to be lower, right? So a course offering would be about a 30%, 40%. A group program is going to be about 50, but live, we should be, 80% or somewhere there. So if we're not there, why is this happening? What do we need to fix? And then we go in and fix it. So this just gives you some generalities over the whole process of diagnosing. So all the things that we asked about, if you said, okay, I went through my 4 areas, and for me, the biggest problem is area number 2, sales. And then here's how I diagnosed it. And I found out it's my close percentage. And now, great. Step number 3, attack it. Okay. So if we try and get good at everything, we're not actually measurably improving our skills at anything. All right. And that's important to understand. Now, when you're a solopreneur, you're a business owner, you're doing everything. I get it. I've been there, right? But everything needs to get done. But whatever the time you have is that it's working on your business time, you can skew that time, that 80% of it is in one direction, and 20% is everything else that it's getting managed. So if I say, okay, the problem right now is in my lead generation, like, I have a handful of clients, they're getting good results. I am getting some referrals, but I'm not getting consistent leads. Great. So what I'm going to do is, when I'm not with clients, I'm going to spend 80% of my time that I work on my business working on my lead generation. Only 20% goes to everything else. So when I'm doing my calendar for the week, I'm looking at, okay, where can I put these blocks that I'm working on lead generation? And I actually physically have to put 80% or 70 or as much as I can towards lead generation. And I attack it with everything I've got. Okay. I don't dabble. I don't dabble in like, oh, let me try, a little bit of social media, or let me try a little bit of this. It's like, no, no, you're going to do something, do it, because we want to find out if it works or not. So I want to ask you, like, A is devoting the time, that 80%. B is, what does a 10 look like to you in effort? That's an important metric. Like if I said to you, okay, I want you to put a 10 out of 10 effort into improving your resell step. What does that look like to you? What does a 10 look like to you? If I said, I want you to put a 10 out of 10 effort into developing this lead generation live or digital strategy, what does that look like to you? And the reason I ask this, and it's okay, whatever a 10 is for you is fine. I'm not telling you to be me or someone else. Everybody's got a different life, and I'm okay with that. But what I want to say to you is this, is that I was working with a client and I said, okay, so you've telling me you've put a 10 out of 10 effort into solving this problem. Okay. What does a 10 look like to you? And then I will tell you what a 10 looks like to me. And it wasn't about the number of hours. Okay. So it wasn't like, well, you can't have a family or a life and you need to work 24 hours a day. No, it was, I asked questions. Okay. Have you watched YouTube videos on it? How many books have you read on it? How much coaching have you gotten on this? How many times did you go out and try? How many people did you contact to try and get this going? Like all those are effort things, right? And if someone says to me, oh, I didn't really watch any YouTube videos on it. Okay. Oh, I didn't really read any books on it. I don't have time. That's fine, but is that a 10? And I'm not here to answer the question. I'm here to ask the question, what does a 10 look like to you? Okay. And so that's kind of my point, is like, if I say, okay, I really need to figure out this workshop thing, I'm going to do live workshops and I'm going to use that as my lead generation strategy. Great. So in that 80% of your time that you're working on your business, what did you do? Did you watch other people do workshops? Did you research workshops? Did you go out and talk to people around running workshops at their clinics or things like that? Did you create the structure of what a good workshop looks like? Did you come up with 20 different workshop ideas? Did you think about how you might, all the different ways you might get someone into a workshop? Like, what did you do to put a 10 out of 10 effort into making this workshop thing a reality? Okay. And that's why I say step number 3 is attack it with all your resources, effort, or attention. Because what I find is people end up saying, well, I'm going to do a workshop, and I looked at some topics. I'm like, well, it's been 7 days. That's all you did, was looked at some topics in 7 days? Like, that should be an hour of work. Then in the next hour, you should have, researched 20 facilities that you could have done. And then in the next hour, you know what I mean? So it's like, what does a 10 look like? Let's go after it. Let's go after it hard. And they say, well, I also need to, worry about my renewals and I need to post online. No. Let's focus on this area and really crush it and attack it like a bull, and just maintain the other areas. Because what's going to happen is this: when you do that, let's just use the workshop example. You're going to get really, really good at running workshops, and you're going to have people showing up, which means now, do you need to put as much time and energy into it? No. So now you're just going to show up and run workshops, and my attention and time can now go to problem number 2. And I switch it to my next problem. And I run workshops still, but now 80% of my working on my business time goes to a different problem. Okay. And so in my business, that's what I'm always doing. I'm like, okay, this is the stuff that I need to manage, but where is 80% of my time going right now? What am I learning or attacking right now in my business? And so it's always something. It's just a different step on one of these steps. I should never not be attacking one of those areas. I should always be attacking one area. Okay. And so this is our framework for, solving the biggest problem in our business. So the first step is, what is the biggest problem? Looking at our 4 areas and saying, where is it getting blocked up? Where is the flow getting blocked up at? And if I have multiple points, I go to the most upstream point. Okay. Number 2 is I diagnose. Okay. Where's my numbers? Where's my stats? What's happening? Figure out exactly what is the exact problem. ask a lot of questions about that, do your numbers, do your research, then attack it. You know, I'm not saying I have the answer, but I'm saying is that if you attack it with all you've got, I know that you will conquer it because you're sitting here. You've gotten to this point in your life. You have a career, you've helped people. And so you have the capacity to do amazing things because you've already proven it, which means that this next problem is going to be easy for you. You just haven't attacked it yet. Okay. You haven't attacked it with all your resources. And when you do, you'll crush it. I know you will, because you've crushed all the past problems you've had in your life and in your business. Okay. And that's what we're going to do to solve the biggest problem in your business at any given time in the year. So now I want to open it up to specific questions to the people that are here with me live, and let's answer some stuff. So if anybody has any questions on this system, this overview, anything specific, let's do it now. We got 15 minutes. Everybody's kind of overwhelmed with information.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's kind of like, well, where do I start? Where do my
Let's
questions
talk about where you start. Okay. So David, if you have a question, pop it in the chat, or you can come off too. But where do you start? So with you, Tiffany, at the beginning of the call, you said that you feel like lead generation is the part you're struggling with the most. Now, you might have a couple of areas, but what did I say? I said start upstream. So if you think lead generation, you're not getting consistent leads, then we start there because that's upstream. Okay. So let's say lead generation is the biggest challenge for you right now in your business. Let's start with that. Okay. So what I'm going to recommend right now is, what are you doing right now that's a live strategy? Live meaning like you're interacting with people yourself. What are you doing for your live strategy to try and generate leads?
I'm in a network. I'm in a networking group, so I network. I do that, and then workshops. So workshops seem to be good for me. I haven't said I mean, I haven't mastered it yet. I think I need to do more. And your idea of researching facilities. So that's what I need to do. I think that's my next step. That was a really good idea, is research different facilities where I can continue to do the workshops. I feel like I do my best when I'm talking to people. I've tried the social media, and it's not that it didn't work. And I tried it. I gave it up like 100% effort for 3 months. And I just wasn't getting enough out of it to continue to put 100% effort into something. If you put 100% effort into doing something and you don't even get one client at 3 months, I'm like, this is a waste of my time.
Yeah, no problem. It's not for everybody. So I agree with you. Okay. So you said this was perfect. So lead generation is a step you're on. We've diagnosed and we said, okay, I'm kind of trying to do the workshop and networking thing right now. Great. Now for you, what I'm hearing is you're at the first step, which is volume. Let's go do it. Let's go do more. So what I would suggest is right now, put 80% of your attention into how can I get more practice or volume at this. So more networking groups, join more networking groups, and run more workshops. How do I do that? Well, I research first. What networking groups are out there in my area? What clinics, facilities could I run workshops at? Are there clinics? Are there gyms? Are there church groups? Are there whatever? And then I'm going to get some practice under my belt at running workshops, and I'm going to collect leads along the way. Then I master this workshop thing. And so how do we master the workshop thing? Well, it's like provide value, right? Get people to show up, provide really good value during the workshop. And for you, get leads at the end, like get emails, get numbers, get names. And just right now, that's it. I don't want you to do anything else. Just focus on that. Okay. And going 80% of your time on that and get volume in. Once you have the volume in, you're going to learn. I didn't like this, just like you did with social media. Didn't like this. This didn't go so well. I'm not going to do this, but the clinic worked really well. So I'll try that again. But we have to first do the volume. So that's what I would do if I was you. Go down that path. Now, here's your digital strategy that can pair with that, because you don't like the social media, which is fine. Collect emails. Okay. So even if it's in an Excel spreadsheet, name, phone number, email, notes, start compiling a huge list. Everybody you meet, doesn't matter where or how you met them, networking group, they attended your workshop, you met them at a coffee shop, doesn't matter. And then what you can do is once you have a big enough list or start growing that list, you can just start to nurture these people with a monthly email, keeping them informed, giving them some tips. What does that do? It just keeps people warm and it keeps you top of mind, because
Mhm.
someone that you met at a networking group or a workshop might not be ready right now, but they might be ready in 3 months. And if you just contact them once in a while, then you have a higher chance that they'll actually interact with you later.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
I would attack that. You're right on point. When you mastered that, and either it's going to work or not work when you've done the steps. So volume first, adjust and master, time versus outcome, right? Assuming it works, right? Then you just say, okay, great. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a monthly or quarterly workshop, not put so much time into it, but just do a regular thing. And now I
Mhm.
go to my next area that I want to attack in my business.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay. Who else has one? David, you got something? Rich, somebody?
I got some, man. Okay, so I'm still driving.
Yeah, no worries.
I am in a situation where I'm still working at a gym. I want to employ more of my exercise therapy skill set towards clients, but I want to do more on the exercise therapy side than I'm doing personal training. So I'm
Okay.
trying to kind of like, yeah, I'm just trying to move more of my business towards doing exercise therapy. And I'm having a hard time kind of making that transition from one side to the other. And also a way of me increasing my exercise therapy business and decreasing my PT business. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
fair.
want to, yeah.
Fair. I get it. Okay. So what kind of gym are you in? I'll start there.
Uh, I work at like it's a private gym. It's One Health Clubs. It's down in Mississauga.
Well, I know one health club.
So it's like a private gym.
Okay. How are you
Um,
getting your clients there?
oh, they provide the clients for us, and in doing that, I'm not making the hourly rate I would like to be making, but I want to have my own clients that I do some exercise therapy with, and I'm doing like the rehab stuff with. Obviously, I can charge them whatever I want, so I can make that money. But I just want to transition over to be where I can have more clients that I do exercise therapy with and less clients that I do personal training with, like in
Got
regards
it.
to fitness and just
Got it.
people who just want to lose weight and stuff.
Yeah. So I see this. Here's what I see as the options right now. Okay. So what I think is, I could be totally off base. I'm making some assumptions here, so correct me if I'm wrong. So One Health Club, they're feeding you clients. Obviously, they have a sales process. They're going to pay you a
Yes.
percentage of the session. Like they have a whole
Yes.
system. So I think what you need to do in this particular situation is find another location that you're going to do exercise therapy at.
Gotcha.
Keep doing what you're doing and start building up a business at this other
Another
location.
location. I
This
gotcha.
other location could be a clinic. It could be a private
Yes.
studio. There's a place in
Mm.
the West End, right? At West,
Yes.
yeah. There's a
Yes.
place out there, Sky Fitness or something. They charge $10
Yeah, I know Sky.
a
Yeah.
session.
Yep.
10,
Hmm.
$10 a session for you to build your clientele.
Oh, they charge $10 an hour to use the facility.
Yeah. You
Oh,
keep
okay.
whatever else you charge, right?
Oh,
Anyways,
okay.
you
All right.
find a place, a studio, a clinic, whatever, that you're saying, okay, this is going to be my second home base of operation. So
Mm.
where am I putting 80% of my effort right now? Number one, I find that space. What do I look
Gotcha.
for in a space? What do I
Mm.
want in a space? I want good client traffic, good visibility. I want to know how I'm going to market. Do I have the ability to market in this place? Can I run workshops out of it? Are they willing to
Mm.
collaborate? Are they
Mm-hmm.
kind of dicks? Like that, I would put
Mm-hmm.
80% of my effort in. What is this second space?
Okay.
Then once you've sort of figured that out, then you
Mm.
jump to your lead generation, right? You say, okay,
Gotcha.
I figured out this is where I want to be. Now I'm going to switch to lead generation. What's my physical way? What's my digital way? Pick a way, attack it with 80% of your effort to start bringing in leads. And I'm assuming you're offering at this point in time, meaning like, okay, let's say you go, I'm just going to say you're going to go to David's studio out in the West End and there you're going to do a 30-70 profit share with them on each session. And you're going to charge $100 a session. So you make 70 a session, whatever. I don't know. You're going to figure out your
Yes.
offer. You say, okay,
Yes.
this is my offer. This is where I'm going to be. Great. Now I shift gears. Okay. What's my digital strategy? What's my live strategy for generating leads? And I put 80%
Gotcha.
attention into there. So that I would say those are your next steps. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And we can revisit later. Once you accomplish that,
Yes.
tackle those steps, we can say, okay, what's next? Okay,
Okay.
perfect.
All right.
Okay, I want to give Rich, I got 5 minutes if Rich has one he wants to throw out there.
Oh,
What do you
sure.
got, Rich?
Yeah, I've got one for you. Hey, Jeff. Great stuff. I have the opposite problem. I have enough clients. Like I also work at a private club, and they give me referrals and this and that. I get bottlenecked. It's with my organization. Like I'm always finding I'm starting from scratch, building up programs, spending way too much time at night just like making notes and stuff like that. So I'm trying to find myself a way to organize myself and processes, right? So I want to throw in this
So that's under service umbrella.
what's that? Sorry?
That's under the service step.
Service,
right?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not servicing efficiently, meaning time efficient.
100%. And I know I could fit more clients in, but it's me taking the notes and thinking, oh shoot, because there's always something that comes up, right? Oh, I got a sore shoulder, whatever. So the exercise therapy, I would also like to include more of that as well. So it's just like going through the process from assessment, consultation, doing these assessments, next steps. I need to make it a better process for it. And that's where I think it'll maybe after this weekend as well, and getting the online courses will help me with some of this stuff. But yeah, that's just kind of in the bind I'm in right now.
Okay. So I love it. This is a problem that a lot of people have. So it's super relevant. You need to put 80% of your attention right now into your systems, right? So right now you're running around, you're doing things, but you don't have it systemized. But have you put a 10 out of 10 effort into systemizing yourself? The answer is probably no, which is okay. We all do this from time to time. That's why we're here, right? So right now you're going to say, okay, I'm spending all this time programming, but I'm spending no time learning how to program efficiently. So then I always end up spending all the hours.
That's
So
right.
what we need to do is we need to dedicate some time to building systems that help you be efficient. Okay. You're gonna research, you're gonna learn from other fit pros, you're gonna chat GPT, you're gonna evolve, and you're gonna figure out some systems to be more efficient, right? So self-booking in your calendar apps. You're gonna look at programming apps, accountability apps, things like that. That all you do is you upload the program. You don't have to send it. The clients look at it themselves. Okay. Can I have an auto reminder for appointments if I'm sending confirmations? Can I get an app that does auto reminders to my clients and things like that? I don't have to send emails. I don't have to send that type of information, right? So a lot of this stuff can really systemize your business. So it's like, I don't confirm my appointments, my auto reminder does. Like, people can self-book. So if they need to change, just go in my schedule and they change it. 24 hours out, it's locked in, but and there's lots of apps for that, like Jane app and things like that. It's 24 hours in, it's locked in. They can't change it. But if it's further and they need to move to Friday, you do it yourself. I'm not doing it. Go into the app, change it yourself, right? And that takes time off. And then I'm going to plug exercise therapy here because I feel like it's going to help you. Is that with all the tools, when you take all the courses and stuff and the online courses, especially to pair with it, just print our programs and send them to people, right? Like we have so many programs. We have so many hundreds of programs that you are still customizing. It's not customized. It's customized to the things you're doing in your assessment. So you do your primate, you figure out what the problem is. You say, this is your corrective, whether it's bee's knees or whatever it is. And here's from the knee online course, the program that pairs with it.
Mm-hmm.
Bee's knees, Night Susei knee, email, go, right? And it decreases the amount of time that you have to think about it. Might you change one exercise on that? Yeah, but you don't have to program all 9 or 10 exercises. You're spending like a tenth of your time doing it.
Yeah.
So when you look across, okay, the live courses have the correctives, the onlines have the training programs that pair with the correctives, and then the membership portal have all the fitness programs. When you pair across that, like you should be only writing 1 or 2 programs, a week, maybe even less, because we have those programs. Brendan's done the work, just change 1 or 2 exercises. That's it. It's all there for you. And so I would just honestly be doing that, and you're going to save yourself a ton of time. And then you just, like I said, you can still do some customs one in a while, or you can mash 2 programs together, but that's what I would recommend. And so my general blanket recommendation is right now, spend 80% of your time that you're working on your business, that you're not with a client, working on systems. How do I make my life easier? Because what's going to happen is you're going to free up a ton of time. You're going to be able to take on more clients and help more people, but you're also going to be able to think better on the 10% that you are doing still, because you're not doing so much volume.
Yeah, 100%. It's just making those systems how to, yeah. So I'll use the help of ChatGPT and all these other things. I know what I want to do. It'd be nice
Yeah.
to have my list of exercises. And then if they have this issue, there, this is the exercise for you. Or use the programs in ETA, right?
Exactly. Just
Yeah.
just email them the program, man. That's why we built them for you. Right. Once in a while, you have to customize because you're like, this guy has 3 problems and this doesn't quite fit. Great. But if it's a simple case and someone's like, you know, bee's knees and this is the knee, Nights Who Say Knee, you don't even need to change anything. It's a
Yeah.
2-day split. Here you go. Let's go. Right. So I would work on that. But the key is this: spend 80% of your time right now, right? Put it in your calendar, an hour here, an hour there, systems. The title of the booking appointment says systems. You're not programming, you're doing research on your systems. If you do that, you're going to make it a long way.
Cool.
And your life gets easier in the future, right? You're just making your future self happier, right? Like, we don't work out because I'm going to be fit tonight. I work out because I'm going to be fit in 6 months. That's what systems is. I'm going to do something today because it's not because it needs to get done today, but because it's going to make my life easier in a month or 2. Okay, amazing. Well, thank you guys for participating. I'm glad to make it practical for all of you. And thank you for showing up, spending some time with me today. I hope that you got some really, really good takeaways for your business. You can solve the biggest problem in your business. It's just about following this structure and putting in the effort, because you've conquered every problem you've had in your life to this date. And I know you're capable of it. So thank you for spending some time with me today. Until the next training, I am rooting for you, and I want to see you all win in your careers and in your life. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks, Jeff. Have a good rest of your day.
Bye now.
Take care.